Hi, and welcome to this video on the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when starting their own business. So if you are thinking about starting a business or have just recently started a business, then you need to watch this video right the way through to the end. Each one of these mistakes can literally cost you thousands and could eventually lead you to failing in your business, and I don't want that to happen to you. Now, my name is Ray Lavery. I'm the co-founder of How to Start a Business, and over the last 20 years, Helen and I have helped over 15,000 startups grow and scale their business. So let's move on and have a look at those 5 mistakes. So let's have a look at mistake number 1. So the number 1 thing is that people do not do enough market research, or in a lot of cases, they don't do any market research. And what happens is that people get really excited because they get a business idea in their head and they just can't wait to jump straight in. And I can completely understand that. They are so excited about their idea that they just have to keep going and they just go for it. Now, this is a bit like jumping off a cliff without a parachute. You're immediately going at enormous speed. You don't have a plan as to where you're going to land, and when you do land, it's a very big mess and incredibly painful. Now, another thing that people don't do is that they don't ask potential buyers what they really think. They just assume, again, that because they like it, that their buyers will actually want it as well. And so therefore, they don't have the perspective of potential customers. And if you don't understand that perspective, then how can you actually hope to sell to them, because you don't know what's going on inside their mind? Another part of market research is that people do not look at their competition in any detail. They don't know their top 5 competitors. They don't know them in detail. And then that means that you don't know what offers you can put out. You don't know what pricing it is that you can put out. You don't understand the business models and what you're actually up against. And actually, if you can map out what the number 1 business or your number 1 competitor is doing in your niche, then all you have to do is to copy that and your life will be an awful lot easier. So that is mistake number 1. People do not do enough market research, so you make sure that you do. So let's have a look at mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is that people do not have enough money in order to be able to do their startup. So they're grossly underestimated how much cash that they actually need. Now, people obviously will try and start a business with as little money as possible, because very often people don't have a lot of money, and I completely understand that. But it's very important that you understand what the real costs of your business are and that you don't skimp on it too much. And also that you leave a budget for things going wrong, because things will go wrong. And in order to make sure that your business can survive, you need to have, if you like, a cushion for either expenses that you didn't anticipate or simply when things go wrong. Now, it's also very important that you make sure that you don't overspend on certain tools. And this is particularly true for people who have funding or have, a decent amount of cash to get going. What people often find is that they end up spending a lot of money on websites and branding and stuff like that, when actually that's not necessary at all. You can literally do that bit on a shoestring, okay? Having a very nice logo never made anybody a millionaire. I can guarantee you that, okay? So be careful about this. Be careful about what it is that you're spending your money on, but make sure that you do spend money on the real tools that you need. Never skimp on your business tools, but don't overspend on your business tools, because if you do, you're going to run out of cash very, very quickly. Now, the next thing that we see, which is really part of the underestimation of cost, is that people do not have a marketing budget, and they think that they can just do a few organic posts on Facebook or something like that, and that's going to work for them. And unfortunately, it's not. Just because you open the doors of your business does not mean that people are going to flow in. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people posting on a regular basis out there. And so you need to make sure that your business can stand out from all of the others. So what we say is that you need to make sure that you have a defined marketing budget, and that should be about 1/3 of all of your costs. So all of your costs, then add on another 1/3 for what you're going to do with your marketing, because that is a key thing, that you have marketing and you have it consistency. So put that aside and make sure that that is a very big part. Most businesses fail because they don't have enough customers, and they don't have enough customers because they're not spending enough money on their marketing. So make sure that you don't make that mistake. Mistake number 2, make sure that you completely understand your budgets and that you have a cushion for when things go wrong. So, mistake number 3, people have not identified their target audience, all right? They think literally that everybody will want to buy from them. In fact, one of the most common questions or common answers I get when I say to people, who are you going to sell this to? Is like, oh, this is open to everybody. Everybody's going to want to buy this. Now, that is actually not the case. You might think it's true, but it actually isn't. Only a very small number of people will actually want to buy what you have right now, okay? It's not everybody in the planet who will want to buy what you have to have. And so therefore, you need to know who those people are. You need to understand the problems that you're solving. And very importantly, you need to understand where those people are going for their information. So that essentially means that you need to be able to create a niche market. You need to understand your target market, and you need to understand them like they're your best friend. You need to know them pretty much on that basis. So exactly like you would know your best friend, that's how closely you need to know your target market. Because if you can't step inside their mind and you don't know what's going on inside of their brain, you don't know what they're thinking, you don't know what their problems are, you don't know what their pain is, then how can you hope to sell to them? Also, if you know them that well, you also know where they are going to get their information. And so if you don't know that, how can they ever even hear your message in the first place? Because you're going to put your message in the wrong channels. So you need to make sure that you know them in the best way possible. You know everything about them. So mistake number 3, not having identified a target audience. You must identify it, and please don't be afraid just because you think that there's nobody in that niche. There is. You only need a few thousand people who are interested in what you're buying at a particular moment in time, because as time goes on, more people will fall into that category. So don't make your audience too broad. You simply won't get heard. Define it, create a niche that's small, because that's where you're actually going to find your sales. So mistake number 4, people do not have the skills to start a business. They do not know what it takes to run a business. And so therefore, they're literally doing what we will call trial by fire. That is basically learn as you go along. Now, it can work, but you are honestly picking the longest and the hardest way to do it if you are going to try it that way. People think that starting a business is really, really easy. It is if you know what you're doing, but if you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to forget a lot of things, and it's going to take you quite a long time to build up those skills. In some cases, we see people who are like literally 3-4 years down the line, they still don't have the basic skills, and they still don't even understand why their business is not working. Well, we can tell you why. It's because you don't understand how to run the business. So you must invest in yourself and learn how to actually do that. We're talking about learning how to do the marketing. We're talking about learning how to understand finances. And no, you don't have to be an accountant. It is simple addition and subtraction. That's all you need to be able to do your finances effectively. Most importantly is the customer services and the customer journey. So what the experience is like for the customer when they are, working with you. All of these things need to be figured out, and you need to have systems and processes in place that make your life easy. And most people don't do that. And because at the beginning, what they're trying to do obviously at the beginning is they're trying to minimize the amount of costs that they have, and so therefore they're trying to do everything themselves. But if you're not an accountant or somebody who's really good at finance, it's going to take you a long time to figure out how to do that. Or if you're not a marketer, it's going to take you a long time to understand how to do that. And so that trial by fire actually puts you really far in the background. It means that your competitors and people with more experience are going to be able to streak ahead of you. Now, the good news is it's actually quite easy to get these skills. There's nothing more than just determination, an ability to learn, and an ability to get back up that you need in order to be able to get those skills. And there are courses out there, of which we have one as well, that will teach you everything that you need to know to start your business. And within 30 days, you're ready to go. Okay? So make sure that you invest in yourself, or make sure you at least have a mentor or somebody who you can talk to, who can show you the way through so that you're not guessing. Remember, 90% of businesses fail, and most of those within the first year or two, and most of that is down to the fact that people don't know how to run a business, and they're literally overwhelmed by what they have to do on a day-to-day basis. So if you know what you're doing, you can cut out you can cut out a lot of stuff, and you can make your life a lot easier. And remember that when you're starting a business, again, I already mentioned that you're going to try and do everything yourself. Don't do that. When you understand how to do these things, you can get other people in to do it for you. and time is your most valuable resource. It's not money, it is actually time, because there's only 24 hours of the day, whereas money, you can always bring in more of that. So make sure that you have people around you who know what they're doing, and make sure that you yourself know how to run a business. And if you don't, go and invest in yourself and do that before you set off. As I guarantee you, it will make a huge difference. First of all, you will be more successful more quickly, and also the success that you have will be far greater by knowing what it is that you're doing. So invest in yourself and learn the skills to start a business, because that is mistake number 4. So, problem number 5, people have not set any sales targets and don't have a defined, simple business plan that they can use. People just assume that because they have their product there that it will actually sell, and so also they just don't have a marketing plan that is defined enough to be able to do it. People will just say on their business plan, oh, well, I'll do Facebook posts, or I'll post on Instagram, or whatever the case may be, but that is not enough. That is not defined. It does not give you a target. It does not give you a direction to actually go in. And so it's difficult to know what to do, of course, because there are so many different experts pointing you in a different direction. So what you need to do is actually quite specific to what your business actually is and what it is that you're selling. There will be defined marketing channels, and you don't need to do any other ones. You don't need to complicate it. In fact, the shortest route is often the best route, and it's just a question of figuring that out and then just repeating that model. So another thing is that people don't understand how many leads they actually need to generate in order to get that sale. They assume just because somebody is interested that they're going to buy, but unfortunately this is not the case. In some cases you need 10 leads in order to get one sale, and in other things, such as, I don't know, things like software or whatever, you might need as many as 100 leads just to get one sale. So if you don't understand your leads and how many you need to generate through your marketing, how will you be able to actually reach your sales? Because you're not going to be able to get your sales targets if you are not generating enough leads. So it's very important that you do that. Another thing that we see is that people either don't write a business plan or don't follow the business plan. Now, those who are writing business plans tend to do the very complicated traditional business plan that the banks ask you to do when you're doing funding. That might be fine for a bank, but it is not realistic and not usable on a day-to-day basis. You need to have everything on a one-page plan. Everything has to be there, and it has to be something simple that literally a 5-year-old child could follow. And that's what makes your life a lot easier. And the thing is that most people haven't figured out how to do that, and they don't have that plan. And because they don't have that plan, they end up just doing all kinds of stuff that is not important in their business, and they're wasting a lot of time, and they're not working on what is critical in order to be able to make those sales and to make that business a success. And so that leads to people being very, very busy, but not making any money, which is absolutely awful for them, and my heart goes out to them. But we see this all the time. You need to have that defined plan. You need to break it into simple steps, and you need to follow it. Okay, you need to action it every single day and ignore anything that is not critical in your business, because if it's not critical and it's not going to make a difference to your sales, leave it to when it is actually a critical thing. Do the critical things first. So make sure that you have that. Make sure that you have your defined goals. Make sure that you understand your targets. Make sure that you understand how many leads it is that you need to generate. And once you've done that, then your life will be a lot easier. So like I said, mistake number 5, not having defined sales targets and not having a defined plan that you can actually follow. So there you are. Those are the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when starting a business. And I'd like to say thank you very much for watching. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe. We do regular videos, and we'll do anything that we can to help you starting your own business to make your life an awful lot easier. Now, also in the description below, we've also put a recap of this actual video so that you can remember all of the points, and you have them there. And we also have a link to a special webinar that we are doing, basically the 3 secrets that you need to know to start and grow a successful business without needing any experience. So if that's you, the link to do that masterclass is in the description, and we look forward to seeing you there. And please do also feel free to comment. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And look, other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you again next time. So thank you very much, and goodbye.